right, guys, let's check out a brand that I bet most of you don't know anything about. And big thanks to my buddy Bobby Legs for sourcing this one, getting hold of the owner of the company, Peter, and setting it up so he could share it in my little Patreon group. There's a bunch of us that have YouTube channels, so like collectively we try to source different watches so we can all share them and learn and experience and share with you guys. But this one here is the Biatec Leviathan, and here's a little info card that comes with it, and then here's the note on the back. Here's Peter's handwritten signature. He is the founder, owner of Biatec. So let's get into looking at the watch, and I'll even share the box here in a moment too. But this watch here, just like Bobby Legs said in his video, and I'll put a link to his video in the description, check it out. But it's a unique, interesting design, and I 100% agree with Bobby Legs in the fact that this watch has the ability to grow on you. So if you're in the market for something different outside of the norm, that in a watch hobby way that you can set yourself apart from the masses of similar looking watches, but yeah, have a well-built watch with some I don't know, it's just got something extra going on, and you don't really notice it looking at video or picture. It's only until you get it on wrist, and hopefully I can share some of that with you on video so you can make that decision. But let's just get into the specs of it, and then we'll talk more. So it is a 40mm case, so it's gonna wear kind of small, like for me anyway, a 40mm. Lug to lug is a 50. You can see very interesting case and lug design here. Offset crown at a true 4 o'clock position. 14mm thick to the domed sapphire crystal, and 20mm lug width here. Now you can unscrew these and put something different in there if you want, but I think that would be foolish because this bracelet is what helps make this watch, on top of all the other cool design characteristics. This bracelet is like a perfect match for the watch. It's a complete 100% design. It's not something like where the watch head was designed and made and then they're like, oh shoot, we need to throw a bracelet on it. I don't get that vibe from this thing at all. This was coherent in its entirety as far as the design aspect of it. So it's using the Sellita SW200, but they didn't just buy the base model. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but even when you're buying certain movements, especially in the Swiss made, so like if you're looking at the ETA or the Sellita, there's many different grades. Well, this one houses the premium grade. It's probably close as you can get without actually getting the COSC certification, which is a whole separate thing you do. I threw this on the time grapher. It's flatline. It runs perfect in multiple positions, so it has to be regulated. And I think it's somewhat decorated too. I'm not going to pull the case back off, but I'm fairly certain it's decorated. This is all 316L stainless steel, but they do coat it with a, I don't know if it's proprietary or not, or if it's something that they can source elsewhere, but it's called a Nantec finish. So whatever the finishing is, it doesn't deter or change the look of a polished stainless steel at all. It still has that really nice shine, vibrant look to it, but it adds plenty of Vickr rating to help it be more scratch resistant. And both Bobby wore this for a while and I wore this for a while. I even wore it at work, and I do like manual labor, and I'm careful with my watches, but sometimes I expect some hairline scratches, and I don't see anything on this. It's holding up great. So now we got the specs out of the way, we can talk a little bit more about the watch. Let's do a close-up so you can take a look at this dial. The dial has a ton of texture on it, and then you can see almost like a gilded, but that's really more of a optical illusion almost, because it is like gold tone plated. I mean, in their website they say gold plated. I don't know if it's actually gold plated. Maybe they can chime in. The handset, the indices, and the date window frame and everything. But when it's paired up with that really rich brownish textured dial, it almost gives it that gilded look to it. You can see that wonderful shield logo up there with the printed of the brand there. And then down below you have the model name, automatic 300-meter water resist. And then check that, made in Slovakia. That's right. When's the last time you've seen a watch made in Slovakia? So that's really cool. It's something different, and I dig that about it. On top of the fact that the watch already kind of holds its own in the different category, its origin, where it's from, and the company, and they have a bunch of other watches out there too in colorways that I think you should look at. I'll put a link in the description to the website. All right, so let's back up a little bit here. Now that we did a close-up, you can see an excellent offset crown. Despite the fact that the space in between the lug and the crown is kind of tight, I still find it fairly simple and easy to operate. I thought maybe it was going to be a problem, but I typically, pinch from the top and bottom, and I think with that method, I don't have any issue. There's no grittiness, the threads are clean, so there's no resistance that's going to inhibit your ability to mess with that. It has a nice pop to it. First position is going to be your date change. Last position, of course, with the Sellita SW200 is going to hack the movement, and then you can change the time. There's a little bit of crown wobble there, nothing to get upset about. So I did just backspin that to get the threads to line up. I don't know if you caught that. So I felt a little bit of like, anytime you're doing that with a crown, guys, if you're just going to push in and thread, you have to pay attention to the feeling in your fingers. If it doesn't feel right, I don't care how good a thread pitch or anything that any of these companies have, even the best ones out there, you can catch it wrong. Just backspin it a little bit, drop it in, and then go forward. You're not going to have any problems. So you got 120 click bezel action on this. Bezel action is pretty loose. I don't know if that's by design, because I have read that sometimes a looser bezel when it's actually being used for diving, which I don't think this one, because there's no dive extension and there's no extra strap. But I've heard or read that when you have water pressure on it, you want kind of a loose bezel at ambient or above water, because when the pressure goes on it, it actually makes it harder to turn. I don't know if that's true or not. If there's any authentic divers out there, if you could confirm or deny that, that'd be great in the comments. So let's talk about the bracelet for a second, because the bracelet is awesome and very jewelry-like, and I dig that because the rest of the watch is also kind of blingy, which I like blingy looking watches and jewelry looking watches because they are. It's man jewelry, right? So you can see an awesome looking case back here with the Leviathan, am I saying that right? Leviathan dragon thing that's like something to do with banishing from hell or underworld or something like that around the Biatec logo there. And you can see some other printing on there, the made in Slovakia, Swiss movement, sapphire crystal, water resist 300 meter, and then maybe it's kind of hard to read, but on the top there in that script, it actually says inspired by the past, driven by the future. So that's kind of their that's their motto, if you will. So if we take a closer look at the bracelet, I have some links here that I removed to get it to fit. You can see their screw links, and the threading, the machining, and everything on this is phenomenal. So you can see the two centerpieces that hold the main link together are obviously independent of one another, so you have plenty of comfort and movability. You have a butterfly clasp, which typically I'm not a big fan of, but I've discovered that if I just size it so it's loose on my wrist, I have no problem with the butterfly clasp. I think when I'm trying to go for an exact fit is when I have issue. So I wore this thing no problem with comfort. So let me pop it on my 7 1/4 inch wrist real quick so you can get a look-see at that. And then we'll do a lume. I didn't see any documentation on what lume they use, but I know it's bright. So you can see there, that is one pro with the butterfly clasp, is it's just seamless. So you're going to have that seamless transition all the way across, so you don't have the clasp interrupting that jewelry-like bracelet. So I think that was probably a wise choice in this case, because that's, I think, more what we're going for here on this guy. So the presentation box is actually pretty cool too. It's this really deep gloss navy blue, or royal blue, if you will. It has a push button operation there. Again, there's their motto, inspired by the past, driven by the future. Nice tight fitting pillow here for or cushion for the watch. And then there's a hidden compartment down below. I didn't see anything in this particular one, but you could certainly hide, your extra links or something like that down there if you had a different strap or something for it. So really well built, box. So when you're spending a certain amount of money, it's nice to see those things. And you are spending a little bit of money on this. It's 1,075 euro, roughly converted over to US dollars. I think is going to be around that $1,200 mark. So it's a little bit of money for this guy. So you should expect certain extras with it on top of an awesome built watch. I'm not mad about that price with this one. I think it's, you know, I think it's a well done package. All right, let me kill the light so we can take a look at the Lume. There you go. You have that really broad, fat, I don't know what you want to call that handset, like a fat sword handset. It's not really sword, I guess. And then those really nicely done indices, cut out for the date, of course, and then you have, it must be like C3 on the hands and indice, and maybe BGW9 underneath the sapphire bezel insert. To the naked eye, that's what I'm seeing. I could be wrong, but probably not. And then that oversized Biatec shield at the 12 is just awesome, because they could have easily just done an oversized indice up there, but instead they did their actual shield with the cross in it, and then so you can see it day or night. You can see it with the Lume and everything. It's phenomenal looking. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I know I went crazy long on this one, but there's just a lot going on with this watch, and I wanted to try to get as much as I could represented in video. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next video. This watch outside takes on a whole different effect, especially when you get it into direct sunlight. The texture on that dial is just fantastic. And you only experience that when you're in actual natural light. I cannot replicate that in the studio lights. That's why I wanted to share this outside with you guys real quick. The Bracelet is fantastic in any light though.